Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Debrief, brought to you in partnership between British Rowing and Junior Rowing News. My name is Fergus Mainland, and I'm delighted to say that international racing is back, and we're going to be bringing you all of the action that took place at World Cup 1 in Belgrade. And joining me to run through all of the action, I've got Olympian Mathilda Hodgkins-Byrne, I've got Olympic silver medalist Jack Beaumont, and I've got Paralympic champion James Fox. And actually, James, coming to you first of all, we've had a hugely successful World Cup 1 for the British rowing team. We've had 14 medals that the team has come back with. They're the best nation at World Cup 1. And I suppose one of the athletes, I suppose, that kicked off this gold rush was Lauren Rolls, part of the fantastic Paralympic team who have very much they're back up and running again after the successful Paralympic Games last summer.
Absolutely, yeah. Lauren, she's a machine. She just keeps going. She's very open about the fact that she had some issues with her mental health after Tokyo. And I think, to be honest, it's unsurprising. I think you'll hear that from a lot of athletes, that after major championships, after the Olympics or Paralympics, there's often a bit of a dip. But to pick yourself up is the tough bit, and she really has done that. All the para team have just come back off the Gavirati Regatta as well, which is essentially another World Cup for the Paralympic guys. To come back 2 weeks later and perform at the World Cup is huge, and I think it speaks volumes as well. Putting back-to-back races together will become very important when it comes to the World Championships, when there could be 3 or 4 races, in a few days. So it's a sign that they are fit and strong. They're already pretty fast, even early in the season, so it's looking really positive. Lauren obviously did very well. Ben and our new guy, Callum, I'm retired now, isn't it? I'm not in the team. I find it hard to let go. I don't know if you can tell. No, I'm joking. Callum's coming through the ranks and doing really well. And obviously the 4 are absolutely smashing it as always.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Mathilda, let's talk about that PR3 mixed Cox 4. They're now 12 years unbeaten. They're going, and actually the crew today, they were just 0.3 of a second off the world best time. So for a brand new combination to come together and produce this sort of result so early in a new Olympiad is awesome. Absolutely awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really exciting to see. I've been chatting to Erin quite a lot, and I knew there was lots of new girls going forwards in the team. And I think, it's just see that they can build this platform this early on, and see, it's exciting to see where they'll go in the future.
Absolutely. And Jack, James has already mentioned, we've got new guy Callum Russell into the para team as well, picking up a bronze medal behind Bren Pritchard in an event that was won by Australia's Eric Horry. How do those results, do you think, shape into those two, their development so far? And what can we expect from them in races to come this year?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think even Ben, he's pretty new to the sport. Like his first racing was in 2019 with us, or with the British rowing team. And for Callum to come in at that level is great. It shows the training that they do and the way that they have our Paralympic setup is kind of the best in the world, that they can bring them up like that. Eric Horry is incredible, and I think if one of them can one day take him down, I'd love to see it.
And now obviously we've got Mathilda and Jack, your 2 legends of the sculling world. So I think it seems only right that we will shift from the para side of things onto sculling. And we'll start first of all, Mathilda, with the women's sculling side of things. We sent 5 athletes over. We had Hannah Scott racing in the women's single, coming away with a brilliant bronze medal. And then we had the 4 athletes racing the quad, doubling up in the 2 doubles as well. So which of those do you want to start with, Mathilda?
I think you've got to give credit to the girls that doubled up. It was a very short turnaround. I know, being in Caversham yesterday, we were chatting about actually they were literally going to get off the water for their first race. It was going to be a double. It was going to be potentially a tight race. And then straight away had to begin their prep for the next race. And I think the fact that they managed to get the medals and then get so close again today is just really exciting and shows actually the depth in the four of them. And again, to Hannah, she's not done much in her singles, so to come away with a bronze medal, I think is really exciting for her.
Yeah, Jack, that's brilliant, isn't it? Jumping into your single at World Cup run, kicking off the whole Olympiad and coming away with a bronze medal. I think it's a testament to all the hard work that she put in over the winter months.
It was so impressive. I thought yesterday watching her in the semi-final, she just looked like she'd been rowing a single for years. Like the confidence of the way she was sculling was just super impressive. It's hard. It's so hard. Those races are savage. They really hurt, and so much is going on. And she just looked unfazed. And then today, again, it was like she absolutely looked like she should be on the podium. It was great. It was really, really impressive. And and with the two that doubled up, following on from Mathilda, that is like those doubles that then did the quad. That is so hard. Like I did it once. I didn't mean to, but there was an injury, so I raced two finals in Lucerne once, and it's like when they finished that race, got medals, or not actually got their medals, but come in a medal position, they're excited, absolutely exhausted, and then they just have to go again. There's a lot of pain in your legs before you even start the second race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost something straight out of a Bucks Regatta, doubling up on 2 or 3 or however many different days of racing. But yeah, huge credit to those two doubles, Lola Anderson and Georgie Brayshaw getting the silver medal, and Jess Leyden and Lucy Glover getting the bronze medal. But actually, Mathilda, before we shift on, I think it's worth just touching the nation that was sort of top class in this women's sculling field was the Dutch. I think winning the gold in the quad, in the double, and I think the single as well. So Dutch sculling very much picking up from where it left off last Olympiad, and the nation to beat, I suppose, when it comes to women's sculling.
Yes, definitely. They over the past years, even at Rio, they were medalists in the quad. And I know for us last year in the quad, last Olympiad in the quad, they were always a boat that was consistently up on the podium. They've got a good understanding of how to pick the boat up, how to get the most from it. It's efficient the way they scull. So yeah, definitely a nation to try and go and take down.
Absolutely. And shifting over, we've talked about the women's sculling. We'll shift over to the men's side of things. Quite a fresh men's sculling squad that was coming out to race. Lots of new faces, which is always really exciting to see this early on in the Olympiad. We had 3 single scullers out racing. We had John Collins, who won the C final. Graham Thomas came 3rd overall, and Callum Dixon on his international debut came 4th, which is brilliant. And James, we'll start with those single results. Obviously, Johnny probably won't have wanted to have been racing in that C final, but to have 2 scullers in the top 6 with Graham and Callum there is a fantastic set of results.
It really is. And to come out, I think, am I right in saying that Callum was in the B final at trials, and to come out and I think he came 7th. Did he win the B final at trials? Something like that. And he came out and came 4th on the world stage. So he's been working on his catches, I reckon. I think he's doing a brilliant job. It's good to have strength and depth. It makes the older guys pull their socks up and keeps them modest. And it's also good because, everyone wants boats to go fast, right? And these guys are going to be the future. I mean, we're talking about Paris, we're talking about LA. It's very exciting stuff. And to have that strength and depth in the sculling team I'm sure Paul will be incredibly happy.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly another result to factor into that as well, Jack, was the 4th place for the new double of Matt Hayward and George Bourne. What did you make of that result?
Yeah, it was solid. I think they would have liked to have got the bronze medal, and I would have liked to have seen them get it, because I think they could have. And the way the way they raced was good. And yesterday they were really impressive. In the last bit of their semi-final, it didn't look like they would make the final, and then they had just the most incredible last sort of 10 strokes and made it. And today I thought they might do the same, but maybe just left their charge a bit late, because the race was they did start catching up. And of course it's the first race of the year, and if the team still trains in any way like the way they did when I was there, they won't have done that much preparation for the high end stuff. So through the year, I'm sure we'll see that change of speed even better, and that race sort of nous and tactics. But it was definitely a good start for them. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in their next race.
So the men's single, we've already talked on that, but it was won by Germany's Olli Zeidler, and with the double sculls we had old faces back in the new double scull. We've had the Sinkovic brothers switching back. They've won the double at Rio. They've just won the pair at Tokyo. Now they're back in the double for another Olympiad. Jack, they're two legends of the sport, the Sinkovic brothers, and it's so exciting to see them come back into this boat class and to see how they're going to 3 years rolling into Paris.
Yeah, I was speaking yesterday on the World Rowing Instagram, and I said that I thought in the semi-final I was a little bit not underwhelmed, but like they weren't the same Sinkovic brothers double from 2016. Like I remember they just looked immaculate back then, and yesterday looked a little bit ropey. Of course, they're strong guys and fast, and they won the race. But then today, when they decided at about 400 meters to go, we're going to win this race, and just jacked the rate up, and the explosive power came down. It was like, okay, they are back, and they just shifted, and it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Mathilda, at this stage, I think it's probably worth reflecting. We've got a huge number of results still to run through, but obviously we've got the new performance director, Louise Kingsley, has just come in. We've got new staff into the GB rowing team as well, new structures in place, and so far things are working very, very well. And Louise Kingsley, she's had a fantastic start to her new job and a set of results that the whole team and the whole coaching staff can be very proud of.
Yes, absolutely. I know from the women's side, it's a completely different program now, and I think the change was probably needed in the squad. It's much smaller staff as well, and I think this change, you can definitely see the results coming from it, and it's really exciting to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah, absolutely. So without further ado, we'll switch over to the women's sweep side of things. And we will kick things off, Mathilda, with the lightweight women's double sculls, Maddie Arlett and Emily Craig. And hugely excellent result that they put together. First place, winners of the lightweight double sculls, and starting at the Olympiad on the right foot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was a tough race to watch in Tokyo last year when they just missed the podium. And I think the way they did it today, and the fact that they weren't out there straight away, they built through the race, just really shows like the speed that they could potentially still gain more from the first half and further add to their reputation in the race.
Absolutely. And James, just looking at some of the other women's boats that we had out racing, it was gold for both the pair and the women's coxless form. We'll start with that pair first of all, and it was the first open weight women's gold medal at a World Cup for Great Britain since the first World Cup in 2017, open weight sweep medal, which is an incredible result. And it's very much putting, I suppose, women's sweep getting both the gold in the pair and the four right back at the very top of international rowing.
I'd be so chuffed to chalk that up. Yeah, I know Ford was in the 8 for Tokyo, so she came 7th, and I should be disappointed with that. To chalk up that result with a girl that's new to the team should be over the moon. And World Cup 1 is useful for lots of things, but one thing is creating momentum. You learn things from the World Cup 1 and you take them away, you work on them, and you build towards 2, 3 and the World Championships. And I mean, it's always easier when you win, right? There's things to learn, but nice things to learn. It's not, oh my God, where do we go from here? They'll be over the moon. And it was also nice to see the 4 win in a commanding lead. It wasn't really that close. They came 4th. I think it was a very similar crew. Two new girls in the middle, but Rowan and Rebecca Shorten bookending, I guess, the new girls. And to see them command a pretty impressive lead was great to see, and I think that might be a testament to the new program. It's obviously going very well. We talked a little bit about Louise and the performance director role, and she was the performance director for the para team before she was performance director for the entire team, and she was absolutely brilliant. I know British rowing has essentially been turned upside down in the last few months. Almost started from scratch. Maybe I'm overdoing it a bit with that, but a lot has changed, and she has done an awful lot for the team already. It's looking good, and I'm really, really excited to see what happens over the next few months.
Yeah, certainly, and we've already touched on them. But Jack, that women's coxless 4 that put together Rowan McKellar, Heidi Long, Sam Redgrave and Rebecca Shorten, I think, as James said, they came away and they won it comfortably. And say what you want about World Cup 1, we haven't got the likes of Australia and New Zealand, but to win by as much as they did absolutely sets down a marker for the rest of the world to say, do you know what, come at us, we're the crew to beat right now.
Absolutely. It was like just so commanding. They just swept everyone away, like just see you later. And yeah, like you said, whilst the rest of the world, we don't have USA or Australia or people that are typically good in the four yet, but hopefully this kind of gives them a bit of confidence that their winter training was good, and they're in a good place to go forwards towards, I guess, Henley and the next World Cup as well.
And what we'll do, we'll stick with fours. We'll switch over to the men's side of things, and a new look men's four. Very much back to winning ways again for men's sweep, Jack. We had Will Stewart, Morgan Boulding, Lenny Jenkins and Freddie Davidson. Morgan Boulding doubling up in the 8 as well, but we'll come on to that. And I think similar to the women's four, I think, as we'll see with so many of these crews, and as has already been mentioned, momentum is starting to gather for a lot of these boats, this men's four being one of them, particularly so many of them making their international debuts, their senior international debuts.
Yeah, that was great. So Morgan wasn't supposed to be in that boat. He came in for sickness, I guess, on Friday, maybe Thursday, and showed his pedigree to be able to just jump in to a crew he's not been in and absolutely smash it. And he was just tanking it. You could see him in both the 4 and the 8. He was just absolutely giving it some. And that's what I love to see, just that aggression harnessed in a good way, and it was so cool. But today, they just, like for new seniors or new internationals, they just raced so well. Like they were having a good head-to-head with the Dutch 4. At 500 meters to go, it was just like, it was almost like they're playing with them, and then they just put the hammer down and just won by a length or so in the end. It was great. It was so cool to see. Yeah, I'm really happy to see that. But yeah, man of the match would be Morgan Boulding, I'd say.
Well, James, in that case, what we'll do is we'll just shift over onto the men's 8 side of things. Just 3 crews racing on the men's 8. We had Great Britain, the Netherlands, and China. But at the end of the day, it's about going out and beating your opposition in your lanes next to you. And Great Britain did just that, winning by over 10 seconds. And I think I'm going to quote Dan Spring from Twitter, who said it was the largest margin of victory in a men's 8 ever in a World Cup. So hats off to Great Britain there.
Well, yeah, exactly. In such a short race time-wise, it's hard to create such a margin. You can only race who turns up, right? And they absolutely pulled their pants down. It was really nice to see. Dutch were there. They 4th at the Olympics. So, I mean, there's a pedigree there as well. So, as I say, you can only race who turns up, and they did a really, really good job of it. I'm really looking forward to seeing that perform at the World Championships. Hopefully this has given them a bit of momentum. And, in such big boats like that, a bit of hype, a bit of confidence and a bit of slapping on the back goes a long way. I really hope it carries them through the next few months in a positive way.
Yeah, certainly. And I think we've got the likes of the United States are going to be coming over and racing at Henley Royal Regatta. We've got Olympic champions New Zealand, and we've got silver medalist Germany to come back into the mix. So over the next couple of months or so, either at Henley or World Cups to come, there's a lot of really exciting battles still for Great Britain to face.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Germany coming back in. I know they've had a bit of a shake-up. I saw Hannes Oczek in a double, the stroke man of the 8 from Tokyo, and I think he was in Rio as well. So definitely a shake-up. He was in a double with Ollie Zeidler, actually. I'm not sure how either of them felt about that, but who knows what's going on over the channel. But it'd be exciting to see when they turn up to some races. It'd be nice to see what goes on, and always exciting to watch the men's 8 go down the track.
Definitely. And Mathilda, we've got the men's pairs just to wrap up this sort of analysis. And we had 3 men's pairs racing from Great Britain. We had Ollie Wynne-Griffith and Tom George. Ollie, of course, racing on his birthday. They came away with the gold medal. I think birthday presents don't get much better than that. We had Harry Glenster and Matt Rossiter finishing 5th place, and Matt Aldridge and Josh Bogowski in 6th. And I think, similar to a lot of what we said, regardless of the field, to have 3 men's pairs in the A final, it's it's again saying, do you know what, come at us. We're the standout nation at the moment, and if you want to win your medals, you've got to beat us effectively.
Absolutely. Like when you could see how it was playing out over the last couple of days. Yeah, I don't know the last time we've had 3 men's pairs in the same final. I know Ollie and Tom were beaten by the other pair at trials, but I think that just shows like how probably the boat race was probably a bit in their legs. They weren't probably on 2K prep, and yeah, for them to be able to come out today and win it, I think it's really exciting. And I also think like having 3 men's pairs challenging each other for the World Championships this summer can only be like a sign of how fast actually they can be, with that like really, really tight knit competition in the squad.
I think, Jack, that's been a really good theme, actually. I think the depth of the squad over this World Cup, we've seen it in the pairs, but we also saw it in the singles as well, and the women's doubles. Just how quick, I suppose, our second and third crews are, not just those who are challenging for medals.
Yeah, that is good. It's good to see. I think the challenge with that is making sure that it does feed into the top boats. So, for example, in the sculling, had those singles doing very, very well, and a really disappointing result in the quad, I think. And yes, it's very good having good single scullers, but you have to. And the quad was full of 4 really good athletes, like brilliant athletes. They need to now take the time to just gel a bit better and get the boat moving really sweetly, because they are strong and they are really fast, and they should be and will be faster than they were this weekend. But it's, I guess, yes, it's great having that depth of talent, but you have to harness it in the right ways and hope, and I'm sure that's what they'll be working on now.
Absolutely. So we'll be really excited to see how training unfolds and seeing how the squad races, as we mentioned, at the likes of Henley Royal and World Cups to come. But before we wrap up, very interesting to hear from all 3 of you what your standout crews were, either British crews or international crews at World Cup 1. So Mathilda, you first of all, who stood out to you at this World Cup?
Mine was a women's pair. I think the fact that it was Esme's debut and Em coming from the 8, they haven't spent much time in the pair, and I know they were really enjoying it, just working together going into the World Cup. And then just the way all the other crews were attacking them into the line for them to be able to actually hold their own and hold them off. It was really good to watch.
James, what about you? Who stood out in Belgrade?
I would say the men's pair, Ollie Griffiths and Tom George. I really enjoyed them. They rode so well, dominated the field, got out early and drove it home, didn't give anybody else a chance. So yeah, I really enjoyed watching that.
And Jack, who was your standout crew at the first World Cup?
Well, firstly, I'd echo James, because to add to that, Ollie Griffiths has changed sides, so that's extra impressive. But for me, the standout crew was actually the Chinese men's quad. They won, and they've kind of been, there's been Chinese quads there or thereabouts for years now, and they are sometimes pretty strong, sometimes it's kind of hit and miss. In Tokyo, they were really hard to race against. They're always close to us, and to see them win a race like they did and just go out and command it is impressive. And I'm interested to see how the Chinese quad does this year, because there was some quite good competition in that race.
Absolutely. And just before we wrap up, just a few interesting statistics to give you. Great Britain won every single sweep event that they entered at the first World Cup regatta. And as I said at the beginning, they are top of the World Cup standings. Great Britain on 73 points, leading the Netherlands on 68 and China on 47 points. So a brilliant start to the season, and we're very much looking forward to seeing how international racing unfolds. So that will bring an end to this episode of The Debrief. My huge thanks to Jack, James and Mathilda for joining me this Sunday evening, immediately after racing. And The Debrief will be back over the next few months or so, bringing you all of the international racing, be that Henley Royal Regatta, World Cups, or various World Championships throughout the summer. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.